My name is Spencer Hoffman, and I'm about to hold the six-eyed sand spider in my bare hand. 1, 2, 3. Hidden in the sands of the Atacama Desert is a legendary spider. It's called Sicarius, from the Latin word for assassin. It is said that no living creature can survive a bite from this spider, and that if you see one, you should quickly head back the way you came. If there was ever a spider to fear, it's the six-eyed sand spider. For the past 5 years, I've been fighting my own fear: spiders. Across the world, these 8-legged animals are feared more often than anything else. For some, it's the legs. For others, it's the webs. And for me, it's the bite.
It's like tingly itchy.
Time and again, I've seen that on the other side of fear, the world becomes a richer and fuller place to live. So I've been getting up close and hands-on with some of the most terrifying spiders to show us all that we have nothing to be afraid of.
Have a look at that spider.
But if I was to conquer my fear and show the world that spiders weren't that bad, I couldn't only work with the harmless ones. I needed to get hands-on with even some of the most venomous species if I wanted to clear their names. It all started with the brown recluse, one of the most common spiders in the southern United States, and known for its flesh-rotting venom. I wanted to see if these spiders were as nasty as they were made out to be.
The reason they're called recluses, they like to hide in the shadows.
I'll admit that encounter left me feeling itchy, but I walked away without so much as a scratch from America's most misunderstood spider. After that, I worked up the nerve to handle a large black widow spider. The most venomous spider in the US, their neurotoxic bite can cause horrific muscle spasms for hours on end.
Right now, she is completely still, calm.
Even the notorious widow didn't want to use her most potent weapon. I couldn't stop there. If these spiders weren't as dangerous as people said, what about even more venomous spiders abroad? Even as I started conquering my own fears, there were certain spiders I'd thought were too aggressive and too dangerous to ever attempt to handle. My next challenge was the Brazilian wandering spider, which has the most potent neurotoxin of any living spider and is told to be among the most aggressive arachnids on Earth.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, because that is a very toxic spider to have in your hand.
Not a single fang, not a single threat pose. I had to go further. I went all the way to Australia to do something I never thought possible when I first started this channel.
That is about as terrifying as it gets. This is a spider that has actually killed many people.
Even the formidable Sydney funnelweb, reported to be the most aggressive spider in the world, did not even come close to biting me. I was overcoming the deadliest spiders on Earth, one by one, and there was only one left. A spider I've been requested to feature for years. A spider so dangerous and so remote that no one has ever filmed, let alone handled in the wild, in recorded history. If I were to defeat fear once and for all, and show the world that spiders are nothing more than simple creatures trying to make their way in the universe, if I want to call myself a spider hunter, I need to face the final challenge. I need to get up close and personal with a six-eyed sand spider in the wild and hold it in my bare hand to show that even the spider with the most destructive bite on Earth has no intention of using it. But in order to do that, I need to find one first.
Brutal hike so far. We're almost halfway. Hiking up as the sun goes down. It feels cold, but I guess again, this is their summer, so this should be what they're used to being out in.
The sand spider is very hard to find. They lay camouflaged, covered in the top layer of sand, as they wait for prey to happen across them. The craziest part is they're not supposed to even be all that rare. They just spend all their time hiding. If you're in the right habitat and you know what you're looking for, you might just find a monster sand spider.
Container. Holy, that is the monster.
Oh, that is absolutely the monster.
All right. Well, this, actually, you know what?
Más grande todavía, así que podemos encontrar más grande. Con la mano, ¿no?
This is it, the spider I came to Chile to find, and the spider that completes a journey I started all those years ago, the six-eyed sand spider. The only thing left to do is steady my nerves and handle the most dangerous spider in the world.
Couple minutes out. How you feeling?
How do you think I'm feeling? I don't think I've ever been this scared to handle a spider before. Not since I started handling spiders.
What's going through your head?
I'm looking out at the view here, and I'm like genuinely the thought in my head is this the last view I'm gonna see? Wow, I am scared to handle the spider, but I think at this point I just have to do it. I just have to I have to see this thing through. The only thing that's gonna get through this fear right now is to sit down and do it.
All you.
I guess it's time to do it. Let's go. Right here, we have a spider that has been a long time coming. In this vial, I have the six-eyed sand spider, Sicarius thomisoides, the spider with the most destructive venom on Earth. And I'll tell you, it is quite the experience to even be this close to this animal. It brings up a lot of old fears. You might not know it, but I used to be an arachnophobe. And this is one spider that definitely gets my arachnophobia pumping. See, I've worked with some dangerous spiders in the past. The Brazilian wandering spider, the Sydney funnel web. And those had some pretty nasty reputations. Some of the most aggressive spiders in the world, some of the most venomous spiders in the world. The thing is, even if they show you the worst of their attitude, they're treatable. This one is not. There is really no room for mistakes. You know, people ask me, how do we prepare for these sort of things? We have anti-venom on hand, and the truth is, we don't have anti-venom for this spider. And not just us, anti-venom for the sand spider doesn't exist. If I am bitten by this spider, I am dead. It's as final as it gets. So you're probably asking, okay, how do you make this safe? And the way we do that is we study spiders that are similar to the six-eyed sand spider. Desert-dwelling recluses, things that are related to the sand spider and live in habitats similar to the sand spider. Things like the Sabino recluse in Arizona. Things like the Chilean recluse. See how they behave. Then we look at other spiders that have convergently evolved to be biologically similar. And time again, we see that these desert-dwelling spiders have no interest in biting because they're from super arid climates and resource conservation is their priority. That's not good enough to settle my nerves. It's not good enough to settle your nerves. We had to go one step further. We needed to actually test the behavior of the spider that I'm about to handle. What does this particular individual do when it's under stress? We just gently tickle it with a paintbrush, and it didn't do a thing. This needs to happen. The reason this needs to happen is this is a testament to spider behavior. If the most dangerous spider to ever be bitten by is not inclined to bite, the implication this has for spider kind as a whole is huge. My name is Spencer Hoffman, and I'm about to hold the six-eyed sand spider in my bare hand. Ready? Got the angle? Okay. This is one of the most dangerous things I've ever attempted. Do not try this at home. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. He's doing the cartoon run, about what I expected. These guys are fast ambush hunters. My hope is that he'll settle down and just sit. Okay, there he is. On my palm. That is the most terrifying spider I have ever had the pleasure of handling. I have to settle my nerves here, lower my voice. I don't want any vibrations, any gusts of wind to agitate this spider. That is incredible. But you can see, it's just sitting right there. And this is exactly what I predicted. These desert-dwelling spiders, these ambush hunters, will do one of two things. They will use their speed to escape in short bursts, or to capture prey. Otherwise, they will sit there and do nothing because they're relying on their camouflage to survive. This spider is called the sand spider, not just because of where it lives, but because of its appearance. Beautiful sand modeling, a little bit of exploratory behavior there. A little bit of exploratory. For the most part, these spiders are sitting in ambush, just waiting there in the sand or under rocks for prey to brush past them.
A small insect inches across the sand, passing from one rock to another. This requires extreme bravery in the Atacama Desert at night. Scorpions and tarantulas roam the sands, hoping to come across a morsel exactly like this. But this beetle larva doesn't see any threats over the horizon. Its mistake was forgetting that the deadliest threat lurks just below the surface. The deadly sand assassin with the world's most destructive venom. The vibrations in the sand alert the spider that food has announced itself, and it moves quickly, biting the grub with its chitinous fangs, sending the insect into a writhing fit. Nothing that we know of can survive a full envenomation from the six-eyed sand spider, and this beetle larva is no exception. The sand spider claims another meal before it disappears back beneath the sand, where it can wait for months at a time before its next victim.
If I don't add any pressure to the spider, if I remain calm, the spider will also remain calm. When he moves, though, I'm going to be a bit stressed because, again, this is a spider that is extremely dangerous.
The venom of the sand spider is gnarly. It is a type of venom called a cytotoxin. So typically, spiders are neurotoxic. They have a venom that attacks the central nervous system. The sand spider does something totally different. It attacks cells. The toxin of the sand spider is called phospholipase. And we might remember from high school biology class the phospholipid bilayer, which is basically a super fancy term for the membrane that encloses every cell in our body. And this enzyme, this toxin that the sand spider is using, destroys that membrane. So every single cell in your body could be destroyed by this venom. It has a lot of this venom and a very potent concentration of this venom. So when you're bitten, it's basically like a brown recluse on steroids. You're gonna have the necrosis, you're gonna have the flesh rotting effects of the brown recluse, but because of the sheer venom yield from the spider, you're gonna have multi-system organ failure. As those destroyed cells gum up your system, it's not only a very guaranteed death, but it's a very painful one too. The sand spider has the most destructive venom on the planet, and there's really nothing we can do about it. We have no antivenom for them. They're so rare, and they never bite people, so there's never been an incentive to create an antivenom for them. The only reason we know how dangerous their venom is because of lab tests. What I'm doing right here is entirely uncharted territory. People handle their captive sand spiders, like sand spiders are in the hobby, but no one's ever done this in the wild with a wild-caught sand spider. And let me tell you, it is nerve-wracking. Every single breeze, every single insect that comes to our lights, it makes your heart stop in your chest. The slightest thing out of place, if this spider were to bite me, I am just done. But no matter what, we see it with this spider, we've seen it with every single dangerous spider that I've handled. As long as I am nothing more than a surface for the spider to interact with, an extension of the spider's environment, it doesn't matter if it was a wandering spider, a funnel web, a Chilean recluse, or this sand spider, the spider doesn't want to bite me. It's a small spider, but it's surprisingly dense. You can feel the little hooks on its feet as it moves around, and it's super nerve-wracking. Every slightest itch, the slightest poke of its feet, you're paranoid that maybe the spider's decided to bite you. But as this interaction goes on, it's a spider. And it behaves just like any other spider I've worked with. And what's crazy is, I thought it would behave more like a brown recluse. I thought it would just kind of sit there and look at me. Because typically recluse spiders don't do anything. They're actually kind of boring to handle because they just sit there. This spider is acting almost more like a wandering spider. The way it moves, that methodical kind of creeping motion, it's like the Phonutria, the Brazilian wandering spiders, more than it is a brown recluse. You know, and it's crazy that I don't usually see intelligence in recluse spiders, but the six-eyed sand spider actually seems to have something going on behind those beady little eyes. This spider actually seems like an animal that I can reason with.
The other reason that I'm fairly confident this spider will not bite me is because where it lives is the answer to two questions. Number one, why most people have never heard of it, despite how venomous it is. Why it hasn't killed hardly anyone. And also, why it has such toxic venom in the first place. These are arid desert dwellers. And here in northern Chile, as we start to get into the transition zone into the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth, you need some of the most potent venom to survive. But it also means that resources are incredibly scarce. This is a large Sicariid spider. It's related to brown recluses, but it's a massive one. Brown recluses, they're tiny compared to this thing. This would eat those for breakfast and have room for more. but it's still a small spider, right? It only has a limited amount of venom, and if it expends it on something that is not food, there's a very good chance this spider will not survive to find a meal. These spiders, though, do have quite an incredible ability to go without eating. They've been recorded to go for over a year without a single meal and be just fine. That is how arid, that is how desolate of an environment these spiders are able to survive in. It's why they don't want to waste their venom on large animals like humans. This particular species is probably the most dangerous spider in the Western Hemisphere if you were to be bitten. But the reason that no one has been bitten, despite many of them living near people in more urban areas of Chile, is because they're secretive, they're not aggressive, and they really do not want to waste that venom on us. They have the most terrifying chemical weapon of any animal on the planet, snake or spider. And yet, it is a tool that they need to survive in their home. It's not a weapon to be used against the likes of us. Even the most venomous spiders, the funnel webs, the wandering spiders, the sand spiders, what I have seen, despite the horrifying tales that we hear about them, is at the end of the day, they're nothing more than simple creatures just trying to make their way in the universe. And if we respect them and give them their space, they'll respect us. And that is a spider. And honestly, this is one encounter that I'm never gonna forget for the rest of my life. I feel like this is the end of a major journey. That is the six-eyed sand spider in my bare hand. And I will live to tell the tale of it. You don't get to hear that often. So we don't have to tempt fate any longer than we have to. We're gonna get him back in the container. What do you think we should do? What's the best method here?
I reckon if you just get him onto the ground. Yep, you felt it. There he goes.
Perfect. Oh.
There he goes.
Enough. And
Oh, he's all right. He can't get away though.
and he knows the container. It's a stressful spider to work with.
Okay.
There he goes. All right.
Nicely done, dude.
Went off without a hitch. Man, we did it.
As we released the sand spider back into the darkness of the Atacama desert, I felt like I emerged victorious from the most difficult final boss battle I have ever faced. With this encounter, I've become the first person ever to both catch and handle all three of the world's most venomous spiders in the wild: the Brazilian wandering spider, the Sydney funnel web, and now the six-eyed sand spider, all armed with the most potent chemical weapons of their kind, yet none of them are inclined to use it if we give them the respect they deserve. For me, there really isn't a spider that I fear anymore after summiting this mountain. And while I don't recommend that you handle deadly spiders to be your fear, I hope this journey is enough to show you that the spiders in your backyard aren't out to get you any more than these spiders were out to get me. When we look at it this way, their venom, their bites, become less scary. It's amazing, really, that such small creatures have developed such potent, powerful toxins in their time in our world. How living in the most extreme habitats has pushed their venom to the absolute extreme in order to survive. And it makes me wonder, what other spiders are out there that are armed with potentially deadly bites? It could be that, just like the six-eyed sand spider, there are other arachnids lurking in the shadows, in the remote reaches of deserts and rainforests, spiders with unbelievable toxins just waiting to be discovered. After conquering these deadly spiders, I think it's only appropriate that I start to track those spiders down next. But the story of the sand spider is more than just its bite. Its venom is a product of its habitat, one of the most extreme in the world. If you want to see how other bizarre creatures have found ways to survive in this Atacama desert, check out this video right here. Hope to see you there, but until next time, don't forget to get outside and find your own adventure.